Hey, what's up, guys? This is SM Pantera coming at you live today on March 2nd. I went to my locals today and I played the Subterror Terror. It's what I call my deck. I got X1 today, came in 7th out of 35 people. I would have been a little bit higher, but because of one of my matches went to time, I made a little bit of misplays during that game, so I didn't get the 4-0, but it's all good. Anyways, we're just going to start the deck profile off. It was pretty awesome today. I faced against... First match that I had was against a Pendulum deck. And then after Pendulums, I played against Salaman Greats. And after Salaman Greats, played against Cyber Dragons. And after the Dragons, we played Thunder Dragons. It was an interesting little barrage of games. Alrighty, so let's start it off with the deck profile. And just to start it off is with my main boy right here. The one and only baby Subterror Guru. This is pretty much what the whole deck revolves around, is this man right here, because he can really control board states, give you, give you pluses, give you advantage over the game. But Subterror Guru can be paired up with none other than Miss Subterror Fiendess herself, or I call her the Hidden City Queen. Because she's the one that lets your deck really become a control deck, for the point that as long as you have a Subterror monster out in the field and you have her in your hand, you can negate an activation of any card practically. That's how the card states it. And she also has other effects to summon Subterror monsters from your hand or graveyard when she's in the field. So it gives you an advantage there as well. But any kind of how, this is the Says No girl right here. And then what we play of the one-ofs for the rest of the Subterrors is a very small Subterror lineup. Subterror Nemesis Warrior, Subterror Behemoth Umastrix, and Subterror Nemesis Archer. And I did this lineup. Normally people don't even run a Nemesis Warrior and only run these two. But I added another Subterror just because I needed the consistency to at least pull one Subterror monster at least every time in my first turn. And I noticed when I wasn't running the 9th one, just my ratios were less. I would pull a Subterror monster a lot less, or I would only pull Fiendess and no other ones, and that's kind of like, it's not as a good hand. And then, but yeah, that's why I added Warrior. He actually came through today in a play because he has an effect where he can send himself and another monster to the graveyard and special summon a Subterror monster from your graveyard that you can send from his effect. As long as you have the stars equal to or exceed the star amount of the monsters. But normally, since you're always bringing Guru, Subterror Nemesis alone is enough to bring out who you need to bring out with any other monster. I actually used the Scapegoat token today to use the effect, and it proved to be really useful. But yeah. But I think maybe in the long run, I might switch Nemesis to another Archer just to have Archer's effect, because what she does is, as long as she she's on the field and gets destroyed either by battle or card effect, lets you special summon a Subterror monster from the deck in defense, face up or face down. So she's just an extender, lets you survive if you don't have much going on. And then we also have Subterror Behemoth Umastrix, which he's really awesome. He actually, if I could run more behemoths, I would, because they're like the big monsters of the Subterror deck, and pretty much what Fiendess does is brings them out normally by turning herself face down, or Guru by turning himself face down and another monster. And so when you bring the big boys out, it's just a big body. He's 27 defense, 2000 attack. The attack isn't much, but his effect is when he's flip face up, you can target one monster and banish it. And then you'll do combos with your deck to be able to flip this up in your opponent's turn and just banish their first monster that they summon, or their big monster that they summon after sending 4 monsters to the graveyard to bring out a Saryuja. This guy's the big boy stopper. Normally when I had problematic cards, Behemoth Umastrix is the one that handles them. Alright, and that's it for the Subterror lineup. Now this is what I call my hand trap lineup, because I just do play a lot of hand traps. Here we go, because it's a Guru control deck, it's a control deck, and you can't really win a lot of games without the hand traps. Alright, so we'll start it off. So first one I got is going to be Droll Lockbird. Then I got the 3 Ash Blossoms, Effect Veiler, a Single Hoof, and then the Fantastical Dragon Phantasmi, or as people call it as, aka Thanos, the homie Thanos, just because he looks like Thanos. Look at him, purple, big old dude. Yeah. Anyways, and then also for my final hand trap lineup, Infinite Impermanence, because you can activate it from your hand, so I consider this a hand trap. So in total, I play 7. A lot of people I've noticed run up to 8 or 9. To me, I think it gives you more bricky hands or dead draws where, yeah, you're going to stop your opponents from making their plays, but you're not going to have, enough other cards to make your own plays. So that's why I like this ratio. It's pretty perfect. I've normally ran this ratio with a lot of my decks when, considering going first with hand traps. But yeah, anyways, all the reasonings behind them is Phantasmo for any Link deck, brings them out, lets you, pretty much filter your deck out by 2 cards every time, and then protects your monsters because he has an effect where you can discard a card and negate, an effect of something that targets a monster. And then Effect Veiler is just to have an extra hand trap when I'm going first, and Ash Blossom isn't enough. You just need that extra one. And she's just useful. She's also not once per turn, but right now that doesn't matter because I only run a single. But yeah, it's good to know. Drawing Lockbird, this is the baby. You need at least one of everybody needs at least one of these in their decks, whether they're going first or second, just for the point that it locks out almost, I want to say 75% of the decks in the meta right now. The only decks that I know of that can play through this would be like Salamangreat, and maybe, just other decks that would summon on the field and not draw cards to hands. But pretty much the 3 main big boys, which would be Thunder Dragons, Thunder Dragons, Sky Strikers, and then the Azathoth Turbo Dark Warrior deck, they all get stopped by this card. They cannot complete their combo. Infinite Impermanence, people normally run 3. I just think 1 is enough. It can be a little cloggy sometimes. You could run more, up to you. I just need 1. Next we got the Ash Blossoms. You already know this is babe, no matter what. I remember when the common ones were coming out, I'm pretty sure secret rares were at like 35 bucks. But because now that they see that those common ones are so useful and these look so much prettier, they're going back to $45, $50 a pop each for the secret rares. I got 1 Ultra. Budget life, guys, we make the best with what we got. All right, and that is all for my monster lineup. Yeah, it's a small count of monsters considering like the Subterror side of it, but that's all you really need because your goal is to disrupt and then corrupt, guys. All right, let's continue on. Now for spells, we'll start off with my draw power, and it's just going to be 3 Pot of Duality, 2 Pot of Extravagance, and 1 Pot of Desires. My ratio here, I really have this ratio for the point that I've noticed Pot of Extravagance, if I were to run a 3rd one, I do not like drawing a Pot of Extravagance off of Pot of Extravagance. So that's why I kept my ratio down to 2. Even though if I draw the Pot of Desires, it's like drawing a Pot of Extravagance. The Desire just gives me a different option and lets me also play through other plays in case Extravagance gets negated. And then the Pot of Duality is for the point that if you use Pot of Extravagance, you can't draw cards anymore, but Pot of Duality is actually an adding of card. It's an interesting rule that I didn't know. I thought you were actually drawing the card from Pot of Duality, but you're not. So Thunder Dragons actually does affect Pot of Duality. Anyways, just letting you know because Thunder Dragons are a thing. But as long as you have a Guru to turn that Colossus face down, it don't even matter. Alrighty, and then next we have pretty much the deck starter, the engine of the deck. Hidden City, Hidden City, Hidden City, and 2 Terraformings, which is pretty much Hidden City, Hidden City. Because as long as you draw this card, turn 1, you're going to be able to pop off and have at least minimum of 1 negation minimum, not including your other 4 cards you have in hand, which is awesome. So yeah, Hidden City is like what the deck revolves around. It lets you grab your Subterror monster when you first bring it out. you would grab Guru, and then once you grab Guru, it let you set it, depending on the situation, you set it, activate Hidden City effect to flip it up, and then it lets you add Fiendus. And there you go, there's your one trip pony combo for a 1 negation right there. Could you imagine having that and then these two in your hand? Like, you're popping off, guys. You're popping off. So yeah, so that's the Hidden City engine. Next we have the Subterror Cave Clash, and Cave Clash is a really good card to run a one of. People really don't run this card much in the Guru control because it's not a good card for going first. But to me, I actually believe that it's a good card because it gives you a head start on Guru to be able to activate his effect during the opponent's turn. So pretty much that's one of the reasons why you would want it, because as long as you have another Subterror card in the field, Guru can flip one monster face down in your opponent's side of the field at any time because it is considered a quick effect. And then also it has its other ability, which actually came up a lot today. I'll give you guys a little story in the end of the video that's pretty messed up, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. But the second effect is when you attack, as long as you inflict some battle damage, you can add a card from your graveyard to hand. And on average, you know, mostly who you're always going to add is going to be Fiendus, so you can have your 1 negation again. All right, and then to continue, we have the one-offs of the spells. So the next ones that come, it's going to be Instant Fusion, Call by the Grave, Scapegoat, Super Poly. Okay, I get it. It's an interesting lineup of one-offs, you know. But Call by the Grave, I need 2. And I think I might swap it for the Super Poly and keep Super Poly as a side deck card. Because Super Poly only came up for me once against the Salamangreat. You know, Super Poly into Violet Chimera Salamangreat. Other than that, though, I could have used the Super Poly on the Thunder Dragons. But in my extra deck, I actually don't own... I don't own a Thunder Dragon Colossus, so there was like, or a Titan at the moment, so I couldn't pull off the combo to counter against Thunder Dragons, but I beat that deck anyways today. And then the other 2 are Scapegoat, which is always an awesome one of this card. What you do, the combo off with the Scapegoat is you do the double Mrs. Radiant. All your monsters are Earth, so you practically have an OTK board in one turn right there with 2 Mrs. Radiant, Subterror Guru, and 1 other monster. It's a really brutal combo. I've done OTKs with this deck before, guys. And this is a control deck. Anyway, and then the Instant Fusion is just it's a continue play. You know, it's a backup plan. It's in, you know, I kind of put it in there just thinking like, let's see, I don't think it's going to be that useful. But Instant Fusion came through today. I had 1 game against a Salamangreat player where I didn't even play any of my Subterror cards for almost like 5 turns. I had them on a summon limit lock, which I'll show you that card right now. And then I had Raijin on the board, and all I was doing with Raijin was flipping a monster face down every turn. And then that's all for the spell lineup. Now we're going to go to the trap. And then this is a Subterror Final Battle, which, you know, people think this card is ridiculous. I kind of don't blame them, but is the card that has 4 different effects on one card. And when you activate it, it lets itself set itself back down on the field and it doesn't go away. So yeah, I can see why they call it. It's an OP trap card, but it's awesome. I like it. Its effects, 1 lets you set your Subterror monsters, 1 lets you turn them face up. The other one lets you add their attack and defense together. And then your attack and defense equal whatever that total combined number is. Super great. That's what makes your like weaker monsters, like just your Guru, he's like 1600, right? But once you use Subterror Final Battle, he becomes 3400. And that's no joke. That could kill a Blue Eyes. You can kill big old dragons with Subterror Guru. Excuse me, guys. All right. So yeah, so Final Battle, to be honest, I want to run a 3rd one. I think it's just, you know, because even if you're just playing Subterror, like, you know, vanilla Subterror, just, it's a great card to counter people because people don't ever expect you to have this face down and just on damage step flip face up. Your opponent can't do anything about it, and you have more damage than their monster and they die. It really catches people off guard. And then for the rest of my traps, after the 2 final battles, we got there can be only one, because there can be only one of there can be only one, but it came through today against the Salad Man. You know, Salad Man greats. Great card. Summon limit. 2 ofs. I think that's okay ratio. 3 might still be good. If you can run 3 in your deck and you're willing, go for it. Summon limit is definitely the card of this, what do you call it, this format right now. It just stops about 90% of the decks in the game right now, other than like Guru Control. Summon limit is a very good card. It won me about, like, I want to say it really did clutch me about 5 of my games today. Just because I flipped it face up. They had no ways to stop it or destroy it. And it was just sitting there and they couldn't summon more than 2 monsters per turn. So they, like, no deck could really pop off with that. The only thing I would say that this card wouldn't work so great against, possibly, would be against, what do you call it, Sky Striker. Just because, like, they have ways to destroy this no problem. So I would fill in these 2 summon limit with Goldsins if I had to play against Sky Striker. But I had no Sky Striker matchups today. And then to end the deck profile of the main deck is the Solemn Brigade. You already know. We ain't playing around with this. Judgment came through a few times. I felt like it took heavy cost when you're costing half of your life, but sometimes that's what it takes in order to stop your opponent to continue their combos. Solemn Warning, always a classic. You take the 2K, but this card it's a must. And then we have the double strikes over here. I only play 2 instead of 3 because of fitment. You know, we're playing a 41 card deck, which we're trying to bring down to 40. But every single card in this deck I have for a reason during this format. And it has been coming through the play testing I've been doing in the past 3 tournaments. Every tournament I've been going positive. But yeah. So that's it for the main deck. Now we're going to go to the side. Side deck is kind of simple. And we'll just start it off easy. Triple Twin Twisters, because sometimes you need to pop some spell and traps when you're going second. You know, if you play another Guru Control, you already know this counters Guru Control. The one of Monster Reborn for when I go second, I've noticed that I had a hard time. I can't really win games when I'm going second and they kill my Guru and there's no way for me to bring them back. So this is like the backup procedure practically. It's the Monster Reborn. Triple Contact C. Interesting card. It clutched me in 2 games because I summoned it on 2 opponents that had no way to link this out without sacrificing their main big monster. So I will say Contact C is good in this format for the point that it also affects links. And the one deck that I could say will crush is Sky Striker, is because as long as they don't have a multi-roll or the aerospace, Contact C isn't going to leave their field. It's going to stay. And they can't use any of their Sky Striker cards, except for the field spell. So yeah, Contact C is a very good card. As soon as your opponent summons a monster, you summon this on their field. And then they cannot summon stuff from the extra deck unless you use this card with it. Which a lot of their creatures, you know, are based on their creature type. So they wouldn't be able to summon a lot of things. So yeah, Contact C comes through. Double Pankratops. I want to run triples, but with the double is fine. I saw it in 1 game. Popped 1 card. It did its job for going second. It helped me live and survive a game. So I would say Pankratops wasn't bad. Firecracker, this is the spicy tech. I really want to run 2 because I want to see them more consistently. Because this is what I will say about this format. People play their decks slow because like they have long combos. When it comes to end of time, like happened to the only reason I didn't go 4-0 today was because it was at end of time. I had full control of the board. I even had a way to do damage to win the game, but I completely lost focus of the time and didn't realize time, and I was just too like focused on trying to control my opponent that it cost me the game. But if I would have had this, I would have possibly actually still won that game. It didn't pull it with the 1-0, so I want 2-0. But yeah, Firecracker, spicy tech. DD Crow, amazing tech against Salamangreat. DD Crow, the spinny. DD Crow, their trap card, it saves you, bro. It saves you for the turn 1s. Ghost Ogre. I don't think I saw it today. I think I put it in for Thunder Dragons or something, but Ghost Ogre, it's a very great card, but because it can counter a lot of decks, including myself, it counters Guru, but didn't really see it much in action, but also because I have a single, maybe I didn't see it much in my hand. And then triple evenly match, I saw it only once today, but I literally won the game without even using it. And I wish I saw it a little more on the other games when I was going to game 2, because, you know, I'm trying to get 2 O's. We're trying to dominate in this format. But yeah, that's the side deck. The only thing I would adjust for my side deck would maybe be that Ghost Ogre and the Monster Reborn. But everything else kind of has to stay, just because you never know what type of decks you're going to play right now. But with those ratios that I have in here, you can pretty much counter every single one. And that's it for the side deck. And then just a small little extra deck view. 2 Mrs. Radiance, 2 instant fusion targets, and also super poly, just in case you need a super poly. I actually used the super poly on a Mud Dragon today. On who was it that I used it on? I think it was against the Thunder Dragon, but he had 2 monsters that were of the same type, and sorry, no, he had 1 monster. We had 2 monsters of the same attribute and different types, and then I just did a super poly into the Mud Dragon and got rid of his Colossus. It's pretty slick move. I do like the super poly hitting combo. Utopia package, yes, it's good. Evil Swarm Exoton Knight, very good. Didn't get to use it today, but that's why I also tech in the instant fusion, because sometimes you know you're gonna lose the game. It might make a difference to just summon Subterror, Guru, instant fusion, Mud Dragon, go into this guy and attack for some damage, or go into Exoton Knight, save yourself, give you another chance when you really have some bad hands. But yeah, so that's it for the deck profile. This is a pretty long video, so I'll tell the stories about how my games went on another video, because you know, we're not trying to make these videos too long. But I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions or anything you want to know about the deck, just send me some, you know, put some comments down on my YouTube. Please subscribe and like. Till next time, SM Pantera out.